No, in fact,
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting, Hertford County IDA, order and start with the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody hear us in TV land? Just nod your head.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Yes, before I think we've got those straight out. Okay, clerk, please, Stacy.
Mr. Bono,
Here.
Albrecht, Luce, Scarano.
Here.
Ricky. Here. Warren Zach.
Here.
Gurecki. Here.
Okay. We're all set. Item number 3, our 2021 audit and financial statements are attached. Are there any questions? Or do you want to do the financials first?
No, that's not till down further. This is the audit.
All right. We have Liz Bush here from Bowers and Company, and she's going to go through our audit for us and give us a synopsis of how we did it. So Liz, shows all yours.
Okay, thank you. Stacy or Victoria, would you be able to give me share screen so I can share the financials?
Get up there, John.
You should be the host now.
Okay, great, thank you. So I'm going to put the financial statements up on the screen. I'm here today from Bowers and Company. Also with me is Jen Richardson. She's the audit manager on the IDA audit. So we're here today to present your financial statements. And as I'm presenting, if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me, or at the end, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Liz, how many years have you been doing this for us now?
This is our second year.
Okay, and then all the boards should know that throughout the year, we contact them for support for a lot of different things. And very responsive, answers all of our questions, maybe not to my liking, but the right way. And so they've been very supportive of us. And boy, it feels longer than 2 years in a good way.
Well, it's
Because I can't remember that other guy's name, and I'm glad, but continue on. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, John. I'm going to share the screen now. Attempt to do this. Okay, can everyone see the financial statements up on the screen? Okay, great. Thank you. That's a success this morning. All right. I am going to scroll through them now. And immediately following the table of contents, for those of you that have the paper copies in front of you, is the independent auditor's report. And part of the financial statements with the most significant change this year is the independent auditor's report. The AICPA governing body wanted the CPAs to present the auditor's report in a different manner. So what happened was the opinion has been shifted to the front of the report and the basis for the opinion, which is different that you've seen in prior years because that opinion's, kind of buried in the second page. So the AICPA thought, this is better transparency. And it's great, especially if you have a clean, unmodified opinion. So Herkimer County IDA, we did issue a clean, unmodified opinion on your 2021 financial statements. And then we also include, this is new this year, basis for the opinion. We conducted your audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards as well. You have to issue financial statements for IDAs in accordance with government auditing standards, in accordance with the New York State Authority Budget Office. And then moving to the next page, the responsibilities for management for the financial statements are still the same as they've been in the past. Management's responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. And also management's responsible to evaluate whether there's a going concern issue And in this case, there is not. We evaluate that as well. You will continue over the next 12 months and thereafter. Our responsibility for the audit has, always been all of these items that we've listed here, but now we have to actually list what we perform in the independent auditors report. So we're responsible for providing reasonable assurance that those financial statements you see today are fairly stated in all material respects. And as you continue down to the bullet point, we have to make sure we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism, identify the areas of more significant risk on the audit, obtain an understanding of internal control, evaluate your appropriateness of your accounting policies, and whether you would continue as a going concern for the next 12 months. Also, because you're a governmental entity, we have required supplementary information, and we have to report on this in order to provide that clean, unmodified opinion. So in the supplementary information, pages 5 through 9 are the management's discussion and analysis. We provide the information to management, and then they can provide any commentary that they'd like to add in that section of the financial statements. And we're also required to report on your other post-employment benefits. You'll be hearing me talk a lot about that today. That's the retirees' health insurance. So since you provide health insurance to retirees, we have to have an actuarial accrual done and reported on your financial statements, and then also your participants in the New York State retirement system. So we provide that supplementary information as well. And last of all, we do report in accordance with government auditing standards. So on the next section, this is the management's discussion and analysis. And basically what this provides is an overview of your financial statements with some required condensed financial statement information comparing to the previous year. So I won't go through this in detail this morning. I'll skip right over to your main financial statements. And that would be on page 10. And so here you are at your statement of net position. This is your balance sheet for the organization. As you can see, you have total assets of about 4.6 million. That's an increase of about 14% over last year, which they were about 4 million in the previous year. So the most significant part of your assets are your capital assets. You have 3.3 million in capital assets. That's over 70% of your the total assets. You do have current assets of about 960,000 and some restricted assets of about 374,000. Both of those consisting of cash and various receivables outstanding. And then moving down the page, we have total liabilities of 2.5 million. This is a decrease of about 1.6 million last year, or a 38% decrease. There was some debt forgiven in the long-term debt section by the county. And then if you move down below to your net position, you have 1.9 million in your net position. That's the difference between the assets, liabilities, and the deferrals. So keep in mind, for the largest part of your net position is your net investment in your capital assets. As I just spoke about, that's the most significant asset that you have. So this number represents your total capital assets less your long-term debt. And then any restricted type assets are reported separately. You do see a negative unrestricted here of 1.1 million, but keep in mind, if you go up here to your post-employment benefits payable of about 1.4 million, if you were to extract that from the financial statements, you would be in a break-even or positive situation. You are required to report this 1.4 million in your post-employment benefits payable. That's it's an actuarial calculation. You hire a company that actually provides that information to you and forwards it on to us. And so it's not unusual for any type of government entity to see that negative net position in the unrestricted area, just because of the post-employment benefit payable. And then over on the next page are your statement of revenues, expenses, and the changes in the net position. This year you had total operating revenues of about 590,000 compared to last year. That's up about 68% or 240,000. So this year you had a significant increase in project fees of about 320,000 this year. And then down below, the total operating expenses were 900,000. That's up about 60% from last year, or 340,000. Basically, most of that's attributed to this other post-employment benefit expense. So when we receive that calculation to record that liability, any change in that liability gets reflected here as an expense. So that's really what's driving the increase in operating expenses. So you did have a net loss of about 300,000. But then moving down further below, there's quite a bit of activity in your non-operating revenue and expenses. So in this area, one of the more significant things was the loan forgiveness income of 1.3 million. And also there were grants received for the business park improvements of about 1 million. Those types of grants that are received, the expenditures are not reported here, but they're reported over on that statement of net position. So that all of those items lead to the increase in the net position of about 1.5 million. I also do want to report out there was a net loss on disposal of 700,000 that consists of a couple of different items. There was a loss on the disposal of one item and then a gain on the sale of another piece of land. And then over on your statement of cash flows, basically here, we report on all the changes in your cash for the year. You did have 100,000 provided by operating activities, a small amount provided by non-capital financing. Most of your change in cash came in your capital and related financing activities. So that's money coming in and money being used to purchase more acquisition of your land and site improvements. So with all those items, that was an increase of 400,000. So that leaves a net change of 700,000 to bring you down to just over 1 million, with some of that restricted for an escrow account and the revolving loan funds. Excuse me. So that's just another supplementary schedule for the cash flow. So in your notes to financial statements, page 14, you didn't have any new accounting policies to implement this year. There will be one next year. There's a new lease standard, and how that will affect the IDA is that you'll record a right of use asset and liability for the office space that you rent. So if we want to turn to page 18, since there aren't any new policies implemented this year, on page 18, we disclose in all of our financial statements, basically a brief paragraph about the effects of the pandemic. We don't know the long-term effects of the pandemic, but we are, able to report that we did not have to make any adjustments to your financial statements in relation to the pandemic. Someone have a question? Okay, so over on page 19, we have a note 2 on your concentration of credit risk. I am happy to report that all of your deposits were either fully covered by the FDIC insurance, or you had collateral provided by the banks. The revolving loan fund is next. That's a loans receivable, excuse me. And this continues on to the next page, and this just details out all of your various loans in the revolving loan portfolio. All of these loans are deemed collectible and are current. And then over on page 21, we do have more information on your restricted cash, which is the money set aside for the loan programs, excuse me, and your escrow account. Over on page 22, note 5, your capital assets. We're required to report your capital assets at the beginning of the year, all of the changes during the year, and arriving at your ending balance. So there were some significant additions this year. There was additions to the business park. There was Higbee Road. That land was purchased and some improvements. And then you did have some disposals with the Shell building and another sale of a piece of land. So on the next page, long-term debt, we're required to disclose all the details of your long-term debt. You do have 2 outstanding loans with the county. They amount to about $696,000. As you can see, these are the maturities over the period of time. And here is the change in your notes payable and your long-term debt. You had 2.1 million at the beginning of the year, and then you were at the end of the year, you had 696,000. There was one small addition of 245,000. There was a reduction. That reduction is based on the 1.3 million that was forgiven, and there were some payments on your other loans. The rural development loan was paid off as well in 2021. Over on page 25, page 25. This is quite a lengthy note. I won't go through all the details. All of the information is required. Since you participate in the New York State retirement system and the ERS system, we're required to disclose all of the benefits that are provided and various information, various calculations of your deferrals and your contributions. So over on page 29, move over to that page. Oops, one too many. These are your required contributions to the New York State retirement system. In 2021, we were required to contribute $33,000, and you can see what the contributions were for the previous 2 years.
You know, Liz, I just want to talk about that 1.3 million forgiven from the county.
Sure.
That was going to be forgiven quite a while ago. However, we were concerned about the lawsuit with Quackenbush and where that would end up. And once that was taken care of and gone, then the county opened that up for forgiveness. But that 1.3 was probably going to be forgiven, geez, I got to say 8 years ago, 10 years ago. But then we decided to hold on to it because of the lawsuit. But now once that was settled, so we're good, that's why we see that 1.3. So I don't want anyone to get nervous about that. And that was towards the pumpkin patch.
Okay.
The acquisition with bringing in tractor and some of the other things that they did there. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so the next set of notes on note 10, that starts on page 34. Move over to that page. This is your other post-employment benefits. As I've already said, this is for the retirees that are receiving health insurance through the IDA. So here is a very lengthy note. Again, this is all required information, and and who it's required by is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. That's the division that requires that you report certain information in your financial statements, and that's how you get the clean, unmodified opinion. If you were to omit any of these items, that would qualify or modify your opinion. So again, pleased to report that you do have an unmodified opinion and you have all of the proper note disclosures. So there's 2 inactive members, retirees, and 3 active members that are covered. And over on page 36, quite a bit of notes here. This just shows the change in that total OPEB liability balance. It was 1.7 in beginning of the year. Now it's been reduced to 1.4 million. The actuary is a specialist in this area to provide these types of valuations to the IDA. And then the last note that we have, this does continue on. This is operating lease, so we're required to disclose your operating lease you lease during the year for your office space. And this will be the note that'll be affected by the new lease standard next year. And then, as I had said earlier, there's like 3 schedules here that have supplementary information. Basically, it's information that you've already seen in the footnotes in one form or another, but it's just summarized here and it's required to be provided. This again just shows the change in that OPEB liability on page 40. And then on page 41, we have to report your agency's proportionate share in that whole ERS system, which is $507. So you're just one small proportion in that whole ERS system. And then again, on page 42, we're required to show that your what your contractually required contribution is, which again, this year was $33,000, and you did make that payment. And then the last item here in the set of financial statements is what we call the Yellow Book report. And this is a report on matters of internal control over financial reporting and compliance in accordance with government auditing standards. It's not an opinion report, so you don't see an opinion here. However, this is an opportunity if you had any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we found in your internal control or compliance issues that would be reported in this report. We did not have any internal control, significant deficiencies and material weaknesses to report, nor did we have any compliance issues. And then the last item here, this, for those of you in the boardroom, this would be a report that's not bound in your financial statements. It's just a loose leaf letter inside in the back of the report. And this is a communication letter. And this letter is our opportunity to communicate to the IDA, significant audit matters during the year. As I said earlier, we didn't have any new accounting pronouncements or policies to adopt this year. So there wasn't really anything new in that section. On the next page, we would report here if we had any disagreements or difficulties encountered during the audit, something, like a disagreement on accounting principles or reporting. I'm pleased to report we did not have such disagreements. And then the last thing is we're required to report here and attach your journal entries, your significant journal entries. We did have 8 entries this year, and they're sizable entries, but they're for some of them are for some unusual items that you see. We, as John said earlier, we were in constant communication with the IDA this year. Whenever something came up, whether it was a disposal or a sale or acquiring new property, they would contact us immediately to get the guidance on how that should be properly reported. So we take care of those things during the year. And at the end of the year, when we come in on the audit, we do record additional entries that we find, such as depreciation, recording the pension and the OPEB liabilities that need to be recorded based on those actuarial reports. So again, a very clean audit. Pleasure to work with everyone at the IDA. Jen, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope. I think that, the audit went well. It's very good working with Victoria and Stacy and John. Very responsive, and we got through everything that we had. So it was a good summary, Liz.
I do not see a gold star on this. I'm a little disappointed in that. That's good, but no, it's we appreciate the change from our previous auditor to where we are today. It's a constant moving thing. How many IDAs do you currently audit?
I audit 2 other ones. I'm sorry, somebody wants to get in the waiting room and I did not admit them. I was focusing on the audit. I apologize to that participant. I'm host, so my deepest apologies.
I think we're done with the presentation. Can you
Okay.
get back to Victoria?
Yes. Victoria, do you have rights back to the presentation?
Yep.
Or to the,
Yes, I am now the host again.
okay.
He's already in.
Any questions for Liz?
I just was wondering what the right of, Liz, I just was wondering what the right of use item that will be included in next year's audit, how, what that entails and how it'll.
Okay, sure. So, so when you have an operating lease, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board said, and FASB's doing this already with for-profit type entities. So when you're leasing office space or whatever, we have to report, it's going to be a calculation, and basically what you have to report is an asset and a liability, corresponding liability on the financial statements when you're renting equipment, office space. And this is material type items. You know, if you have small copiers and are not material, we probably wouldn't record that. But yes, we're going to have an asset and a corresponding liability that will pretty much offset one another. We are going to be auditing 21 school districts here coming up in the next couple of months. So by the time we roll around to October, November, I think we'll probably be pretty proficient at this new lease standard. So when we see you next winter, we'll be able to, you know, implement that right away.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, take a quick vote here. I need a motion to accept that audit. And second by Kate. Any further discussion? Favor aye? Any opposed? No carried. And Liz, thank you. I'm sorry, Jen and Liz. Thank you very much. Certainly refreshing, as Jen said, compared to our last audit agency. So great job, and look forward to working with you again.
I have one other question. We were talking, I don't know if Stacy had a chance to reach out to you, but I know she will be. But we're getting a lot of pressure to do online with what the heck's the name?
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. Are you seeing any of that in your other clients, or are you doing that as well, moving it to an online basis?
Who's pressuring you to move QuickBooks themselves?
Yes.
Jen, are you seeing a lot? I'm not seeing quite a bit of online activity. I still have a lot of people using desktop.
I have quite a few clients who use online, and it's helpful for us because you can just give us a login, an auditor's login as well. So we can go in, grab reports, look at transactions, stuff like that too. So it is helpful that way. I don't know that there's a benefit one way or another, the same, you know, operating activity and everything like that. So I think there are a few things that are a little different with the online, but overall, my clients have been very happy with the transition. So
No security issues whatsoever. Is there a fob that changes anything? Nothing unique to get in. That's what, you know, this is gonna have all our financials in it. So I am just a tad concerned.
right. Well, when I'm a treasurer on a board of a nonprofit, and when I log in, it typically texts my cell phone a code. So I put my cell phone number in, and when I log in, I put in that code. So I think that you can set up different security measures with that. Some of my other clients, I just log in with my password, but mine, for the nonprofit I sit on the board for, it does text me a code every time to get in. So to authenticate that it's me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Ladies, thank you very much. And free to go on your day.
Thank
Have a good day,
you.
guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to number 4, mission statement. Jen, you want to read?
Uh-oh, I'm not prepared for 1 second.
Those two looked up with you. Be sure to buy stuff to sell stuff into.
Yeah. The Herkimer County Industrial Development Agency delivers economic incentives to business and industry to diversify and strengthen Herkimer County's tax base and enhance community vitality by supporting job creation, business and industrial development, and community revitalization. We strive to develop the local economy in an organized, sustainable, and environmentally beneficial manner.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, the minutes of last meeting of the February 17th meeting have been sent to you, in front of you, I guess. Any discussion on those changes, additions, deletions, et cetera, et cetera? All right, I need a motion to accept those. Mike, Morzak, second by Corey. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Carried. Item 6 is the financial reports. They are attached to your packet. Any questions before we ask John? All right, John.
Yeah, everything's in order. We're caught up. Victoria will mention a couple of 2-2 tours that paid off. We're all caught up on all of our loans. We have nothing outstanding. As you know, we paid off the USDA, so the money coming in has been good for us as well. That just lowers the debt on that one. But for us to recoup that money, and the other IRP, Beer Belly Bob, he's all caught up. So everything we've been receiving in, any administration fees, anything we've been working with is all up to speed.
Motion to accept financials. Kate, second. John Serrano, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Carried. Second, the sheriff's report is due to ADO. That's attached. John.
Well, I was gonna have Victoria read it all if you would like. You can see on Exhibit A, just to go through each item, not to go in depth. But we've had to update a lot of our policies, renew our policies. This is all done annually. Our annual investment reports are attached, our deposits. So what we did with the auditor's management letter, which was in that audit report. But if there's anything highlighted on there, I know we've all had a chance to look at it since it was sent out last week. But does anyone have any questions on that we could focus on if you did?
Anyone? Let's vote on it. Any motion? Motion, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Yeah, yes. Next, our New York State Comptroller's audit. Is complete.
Not completed.
Well,
No, not a well. It's not even.
all right, Ken, go ahead.
Well, it's a small part of what it is though, Jim. I mean, we have to be honest about that. We only got one part of what the whole audit is. They came in, you all received their copy on it. Jim was here and then the rest of the IDA staff. It's all best practice. There's no outlines of anything. We did change what they requested during the audit. Yet they still put it in there and they know we've changed it. We have a policy being created by Hodgkin Russ that we'll submit with it. But it's all their best practice, which we find, they came in and they had to find something. And if that's all they found, but it will be released that we did not follow that we paid our bills. Even though they were being reviewed by John, they weren't reviewed prior to the checks going out. They didn't find one issue with any of the checks we wrote. But that's a small part. There's another larger part to that audit that'll probably be happening in June. So that's how long these things go. So I'm very taken back by it, but we will submit that new policy when it's completed by then. But there was really nothing that they found, so.
Well, John, that has certainly changed. I get the email to come in 2-3 times a month now, it seems to be, but I have been auditing those payments for years. Somebody just said that's not.
That's practice. There's no written rule.
It just seems like, mention it to me 5 years ago or whatever, and I would have, for 10 years now, it's right here.
I know. Well,
It just seems that way, that's all.
we've appointed other people too to help out with it too, Ann and Jim. Just so none of you sign checks now and you're just here to audit, which is great. The problem is we don't like to hold back on any of the payments, and that's where we get, wanting people to come in, and we all have other things going on in our lives. We appreciate it when you can stop in. But it never caused an issue, and we always had two people signing checks, so I'm not really sure where they were coming from. But we have to do what we have to do. And that's all they could find on that side of it. I'm happy. I'm not happy that they even found that, but so we changed our procedure a little bit, but it's still not right that they were just looking for something.
I think it's pretty common when you have different auditors through the years to have different perspectives, especially.
Never.
So that's,
Yeah.
It's just, it was being done the prudent way.
We never had the ABO in here before,
I don't remember.
right? Or did they come
They
in for a
did come
small?
in when I first started, but they didn't get into all that.
No, it was a small thing.
They, yeah, they were looking at
Oh, and during that audit, we had two other audits going on at the same time. You know, and we told them a couple of times, look, we don't have time for you today. We were honest with them. And so thanks for the motion, John, and the second by Mark. We will get the new attorneys started soon.
Never really. Anyhow.
But
We say goodbye or what?
say hello. But no, it's disappointing that all that time and they couldn't find anything, so they had to do something.
Yeah, I understand.
And this is good that we're doing.
I know, but it still is just because we follow everything. But we'll change that. So, but we stay tuned because in June, there'll be another audit coming in. There are a few things in there that we should have changed in 2016. We didn't. And we're moving ahead in that right direction with the software that you allowed us to purchase, expanding our application and doing some other things. So, thank you.
Very good. Item number 9.
Do we need, no, that was just discussion. I'm sorry.
Senator Seward's 222 update for small business, Victoria.
The current balance of the Seward account is $6,198. As John mentioned earlier, we did have two businesses pay off their remaining balance just in the past week. Elite Fitness came in yesterday and paid off his remaining balance, $338. Crazy Autos as well, they came in last week, paid their remaining balance of $423. All other payments are being received accordingly, so that is good news. I don't have any outstanding applications, but I have had several conversations with people over the past week even. Crazy Autos being one of them, and also Griffey's Contracting. And Ryan is posting more on our social media about those. He's working with businesses to do some specific testimonies for this program also.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the micro enterprise grant that we're working on right now?
The CDBG Cares, we're working with Leanne West to get we did the project consultation form that's been submitted to Home and Community Renewal. We're just working on exactly what we want the parameters to be, the eligibility requirements, minimum, maximum, job numbers, things like that we want to be able to reach. So we should have an application officially submitted in the very near future for that. So that will be $500,000.
We talked with Mohawk Valley Edge about their application and their administration, and it's a little bit different than what we're normally seeing. So we're hoping that we can utilize some of that. They haven't put any real strict rules in there or things that we're normally used to following. So we're going to see what we can do there. So.
Questions for Victoria?
Is there a timing aspect with the CDBG cares? Like
1 year.
6 months? Okay.
1 year we'll get out that $500,000. That's why we've increased the maximum and the minimum, and we're doing retention as well as new job creation. Working with the Small Business Development Center to write up their letters on why they believe they're COVID related, and they said they wanted to help with that. So we're doing some things to make that happen. We're hoping we can do up to 25 people, right?
Yes.
In a business.
Yes.
So we feel as though we'll see some good sized equipment things going on. And so we're hoping that, but we have a year. That's all we have.
So we have a year to get the money out the door, but when do we think the parameters will be set with HCR?
Within a month.
Within
I would say.
Within a month, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
We're
By our
close.
next meeting, we should have
Yeah.
more answers on that.
We're very close. They're great to work with, by the way. We work with this gentleman, Scott Mountain, and his staff, and I mean, we talk all the time on every one of our projects.
Thank you.
Well, we're talking about that, I'm just saying this here. Of course, Randy membership, they're looking for some donations for the leading edge awards. We haven't done that. Is anyone from our county gonna be part of that?
Everyone
Or-
we usually do have someone from the county, but as you can see, I held back
No, I
on
know that.
everything
I'm
else.
just wondering if you know of anybody that may be considered from our county?
I would not like to spoil it right now
Okay,
in public,
very good.
but there shall be. And then also, we're hoping in the fall to do another site selector. But I just don't feel as though
No, I
we're
understand.
gonna kick in the rest. I have discussions with them on a regular basis, and I'm okay with our dues, but I'm not okay with everything that's at this point.
Okay, we'll go to item number 10, and we get Title IX loan, page 14 and 19, for Weekend Fitness, they're gonna use this loan for some lighting, description, correct?
You want me to just talk
Yeah, go
briefly?
ahead.
So the reason we sent it out to everyone, John brought that up. Ann had to abstain from it, which is fine. John reviewed it, but we never heard from our other loan committee person. So we couldn't just bring it to the board at their recommendations. Some of the things that we did find out, this Title IX money is through Mohawk Valley Economic Development District. There's a committee that would do the selection. Once the loan is approved, they service the loan. They get 50% of all the loan interest and take it as administration fees. The other 50% of the loan interest goes back into the fund. If we do not approve this, there's other money that MVID can utilize to fund the loan. They sent us in the guidelines, but sometimes they change. As far as lender of last resort, Jason went to the bank, opposed, the bank proposed the Title IX funds. Usually if the bank's not interested in doing the loan, collateral issues, credit issues, he can apply for MVID or the IDA in Herkimer. In Jason's case, he applied through Adirondack Bank, and the bank reached out to MVID, thought it was a better fit. Jason already has a Title IX loan. They are the first lien on all the business assets. He doesn't own the building. So if they went with another loan, they would lose their first shot at or bite at the apple in case there was a non-payments. So any assets and personal guarantees that they take. I know Corey had some questions on on what was going on in there as well, but it's up to it's almost, it really is a last resort type thing.
There's a question, if they don't have enough weights for you or whatever.
I reviewed the documents. I think it's a necessity, and as far as fitness centers and gyms, and they do, if you're not already switching to 24-hour access, the majority of them are. And so I understand the need. And I looked at their forecast for memberships moving out, and again, it's a forecast, but they are expecting some type of uptick as far as memberships in the future.
Because of the lighting or just in
No,
general?
I think just in general, but I know 24-hour access is a big thing.
What I'm concerned about with home gyms, and I'm sorry to interrupt, or not home gyms, but the gyms in general, how many people bought the bikes, the treadmills and all of that during COVID?
Yeah.
Set up their own individual stuff, and how many go back, or just take the membership and never use it? I don't know, we've given them one and he's paid back everything in place.
Right.
But it would have to be the board's decision.
What say you, board?
Well, Ken, I think like you said about COVID, but as this goes away, I said, I hope it's away. Young people, old people are gonna wanna get out, they're gonna go to that gym, meet people, exercise. I think it's anything but it'll go. I think, summer, maybe not so much, but once the winter comes in again, fall, it'll pick up.
Just two side thoughts. I have gotten calls from 2 chain gyms looking for property in the area. Just 2 different chains.
It's a pleasure. You want a motion?
This doesn't affect us. We don't owe the money back.
Good answer. I'll make the motion.
Morano, second. Okay, Rick, any further discussion? Right. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? 1 carries. Item 11, marketing update or the handout.
No, he's gonna hand it out now.
Yes. And I also have some examples of some marketing posts that have done very well. So coming around now is just a little handout, a little document that we have that showcases the main points that we're trying to achieve through our social media posts. They are gaining new followers, reaching the amount of people through our social media posts. That is how many people have seen our posts on the different social platforms, and engagement. That is people that either clicked on our posts, liked them, shared them, or reacted to them. So on our Facebook, we were doing very well. Over the past 3 months, we've gained over 150 followers and reaching a large number of users, over 60,000. Our followers have been engaging with our posts as well, with over 6,000 engaging with them on our daily content. Short-term goals on Facebook are trying to increase our follower count. Our original goal was to achieve 1,000 followers, but that was recently over the weekend. So now we're going for like 1,100. Increase follower engagement and increase website traffic just to get more people to interact with our website. They see our posts online. They want to see more about what we do. You go and access our website through our link on our Facebook page. And as for LinkedIn, we are significantly improving across the board each month, gaining followers rapidly, reaching over 7,500 people and having over 550 interact with our content. Our LinkedIn page is a little newer. It's just started last March, so it's not close to where our Facebook page is. Right now, we have 196 current followers on LinkedIn, so it's gradually getting increasing. So it's going to take a little time. So for our short-term goals, increasing followers and increasing engagement rate will be very important to growing the brand image. On a final note, it is very important for all the board members to actively use their own social media accounts to promote our page, spread awareness for the idea, get more people involved in the community. If you do not have a Facebook or LinkedIn page, I would be more than happy to help you set them up, get you more involved in it, and take a couple minutes when you set them up right for you.
Ryan, the boost engagement, minimal cost, so we explore that.
It varies. So they give you like a rough estimate, like say I want to go boost my one post about Amazon that reached now 8,000 people at reach. It says like if you put $14 into this, you might get over 200 or 300 more people might see it, but that can vary. Say one person shares it and they have 1,000 followers, that number can be upwards to well over 1,000. It varies. There's different time frames I can do it on. I can do specific demographics, age, gender, different locations in the area. I think it'd be smart, but it has to be specific on what type of post we want to do. Like say we want to buy a new property, I think that'd be great to showcase it, maybe the potential buyers, stuff like that, or different events like the Dodgeville BOA event. That'd been great to try to get more community involvement. I think events and just showcasing more about what we had to offer would be great. Like some of the posts won't matter. It's not necessary to do a boost, but specific ones.
Okay, look into that. I mean, it's cheap enough.
Oh yeah, it's minimal cost depending on how many you do.
We'll probably do that when we get the next round of microphone, because we'll need to get those people involved. So, but I want you to know how important social media is. Today's telegram came to me this morning, and the only thing in the first section that relates to our area, to Herkimer County itself, is on the bottom of page. Okay, put these in, so I'll be able to see it. On the bottom of 5A is the obituary for one person, just highlighted, not even outlined. Everything else in here has nothing to do with our area. It's all everywhere else in the world, everywhere else in the state. Here we are, we're worried about civil rights in Peekskill Pool is the cover of our television.
Official newspaper.
So it's very sad, but we have to start looking at alternative ways to market.
But for my input, print is dying.
Well, it is in some cases, but however, there's a few things that we have to keep going. We have to do legal notices in it. The Rome Sentinel, or now called the Sentinel, is reaching out into our area. I met with them the other day. We're going to see some changes to that. But we still have the demographics in our county that support print media because of the age group and people that want it, and people that own birds that want to put this at the bottom of the bird cage. I think is very important that we maintain that. So there's my thoughts on that.
Anything else, Ryan?
Well, he's doing a whole, this isn't the only thing going on in marketing. We thought we'd start out with this today, but every month you'll be given a report. There's been a lot of activity with our brownfield that Ryan's been, he updated all of our listings, all of our support things for that, which is critical for next month when we have to do the brownfield meeting, and we'll have developers from all over the Northeast at it. So it's important that that's done. Then a lot of other things. We ordered some new stick drives. We're adding more to data that we're handing out. We know that we don't want to make 400 copies of this, but we can make a stick drive. So we have a lot of things going on. So thanks, Ryan.
All right, item 12, Project Orange, we have a purchase and sale agreement.
I would like to move this to executive session, please.
Item 13, Skyler Warehouse.
They're,
Something point.
yeah, they're asking for an extension to their sales tax exemption. Stace, I didn't have a chance to go. I know you've been in touch
On
with
page
them.
20, yeah, they're looking for an increase. You'll see I put their current request, the original, and then the increase back last July. So they're attributing it to material cost increases and some extra work Pepsi asked them to do, it looks like. So,
This is not out of the ordinary. It's great that they came to us ahead of time. This is what the second part of our ABO audit or our controller's office has identified as some of the things we needed to do. So I think it's important. They were quick to step up with us. To be honest with you, some of the other things we're working about that we'll talk about, we really need to do this to support the project as well. As we all know, Pepsi is working out of this warehouse currently.
100%. They think 100%.
No, well, but they're doing shipping out of there and receiving, but they're slowly migrating everything over. I don't know if there are other warehouses up for sale or not yet. I can't answer that. But they don't have signs up yet. They're working on that and a few other things. But what I did notice yesterday, there is a sign up that says 10 Dodge Drive already, which is great. And there's a stop sign at the end of the road. So it's moving.
Questions? Need a motion to accept. And second, Glory, for discussion.
Just give me a minute.
For aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay.
Receipts on contract as well.
Yeah. She was right. 14. Page 2. Skylar Business Park, the cul-de-sac, roadway, land conveyance. John and I met with the contractors and we were talking about with Pepsi actually. And we talked about conveying a little portion from you.
Yeah, no, I was on phone council yesterday.
Sorry.
Well, I was gonna let John do his spiel first.
Why, did you have anything to say about this, Tony?
You know what, I just,
You talked to their attorney. What did he say?
he's. Okay. The bottom line on John's comment is Pepsi and Mr. Shattuck, with the will of this agency cooperation they got from us, and they're doing everything they can to assist us in modifying the cul-de-sac. Principle, they agree with conveying us back what we need, including easements we've requested for additional utilities. The only blip is that they just took their last mortgage draw, and the property is liened by Key Bank. Key Bank is looking for the insurance before they sign off that it's not going to affect the value, which is not very fundamental stuff, but Chad's the First Peterson Company and Pepsi are 100% in support of this. So we will be the resolution allowing us to take back. And that doesn't show particularly well, a little clip off the cul-de-sac, allowing for truck turn.
Is this in everybody's?
Yeah. It's a
So-
little bit of difficulty following.
Okay, so when you pull down the new road, which is between Wilcor and Skylar Wood Pellets, that's 10 Dodge Drive. You come to the cul-de-sac and you take the right down the new road B. we're gonna clip a corner there, which is on Pepsi's property or Shattuck's property. And then we're also adding an easement along that side of the property for utilities.
Oh, I think I've seen, oh, we got Pepsi here, we got the cul-de-sac.
If you look at that cul-de-sac, it's like, and you look at it as a plaque, so here's 7
so
o'clock
this way.
Yeah.
position, we're taking a slice out of that one.
At no cost, which is fantastic because they could have came back to us and said, we want to charge you for this and all of that. But we've worked with Westlake Development and everyone from the beginning, helped them with all of their process, and they were gracious enough just to say, let's make it happen. Pepsi had no issue with it because we've been working with them well on many topics, so. So we'll need a resolution that states, how do you want it to read, Tony?
Just resolving to take back a portion of the Choice Peterson property for road purposes.
And also impose an easement for utilities?
The granting of the easement is not going to require a resolution,
Okay,
but that's a separate document. The utility easement on the dotted line, which is attached to the easement.
okay.
You want to get this additional roads.
No, separate.
Separate.
Oh, yeah,
All
definitely.
right, so let's do that first one, the cul-de-sac roadway, land conveyance, and the additional properties, easement down that road. Need a motion. And second, Kate, any discussion? On the right? Any opposed? No. Carried. Okay, there's some additional roads that need to be cleared up and.
Well, added, we need design and everything, so those would be the continuation of Road B, which is the one we've just been talking about, and Road C, which would extend down in front of the 25 acres and end up in the 30 plus acres to the back of side of the park. Working with Delta again, they're gonna design, handle the SWIP, work with any contractors, and you can see that's all part of the proposal that we received, and the water extensions too, which is good that we're doing this and the way we set this up, because now Mohawk Valley Water Authority came back to us and wants us to put a loop in. So that water line that'll run down all of Road B will connect with the 10-inch line that runs out to the thruway authority.
So do I understand it correctly, the road is continuing
Nope.
in back? You got your map.
So the road is going down here,
Right,
all the way to the end, and then in the front here.
okay, because it did say the parcels that were available, so.
Yeah, so
But it
this,
referenced the cul-de-sac, okay,
so this is not available anymore. This and this are not available. This is the only one.
all right. So continue.
Yeah, and coming all the way down with the water line that'll run here,
Right.
we'll extend the water line to the end there. Does anyone else have questions?
Sorry, need a motion. Cory, second. Dan Sperano, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
So this was for the exception of Delta's, okay, great.
The subdivision or the construction?
We didn't do anything with the subdivision yet. We don't have anything on here for the sub, but we can add it to that. Do you want?
I just wanted to understand what the motion was, because it says additional roads.
It's for those additional roads to be done.
To be built.
Yeah, built with the water.
So is there an eventual sub,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that's gonna take a while, right, so.
Not
Well,
really. No, the
No?
survey work is, if not already done, will be done shortly. I'll probably report it to planning board within 45 days.
The vote was taken, we need to change it.
yeah, that'll be the whole separate.
Let's go to item 15, Mohawk Valley Water Transmission Line. We had another meeting, I couldn't go to that, but John was there. John, you want to give us?
Oh, we had massive discussions without getting in there. And, no, what they want to do is move through and accept the second portion of the grant. They sent us the next agreement. I recommend that we vote for this amendment 2 to move ahead. However, we are still waiting. It's for the, geez, what's the total on this one? 2.1, 2.187, right? So this one will be for 2.187, this grant. But this grant will be for the additional municipal restructuring funds. Right now, we've only done up to phase 3, and we're working with the Department of State to bring it to phase 4, which will complete that part of it, doing the doing all of the road design, the outlay of, we'll put some of the pipe product. It'll also do the deeds. It'll handle drawing and design work with the Canal Corp, with CSX, with DOT, with National Grid, all of that to bring it down the full length of the pipe. Anything that you hear moving forward with us alone will be just strictly that transmission line. Most of it's 24-inch, but it does drop down to 16-inch. So, but this here is just to move ahead with, yes, we agree to this statement that'll be covered. This money will be covered by the municipal restructuring fund grant with the support of the county that upfronts us, and then we draw it down from the state.
Question? Need a motion? Mike, second. Kate, any discussion? Okay, right. Any opposed? Nay. Item 16, Higby Road, the other side of the road. There's a study, survey, local survey, John. please
Yeah.
explain.
So Russell Farm is moving ahead. We had a couple little hiccups with the town. Nothing against the property, but just working out procedures and the way things go, right, Tony? Nothing negative. But now they've voted through, the planning board took a look at changing the zoning, came back to the town. They voted to move ahead with it and have a public hearing. Also with the map plan and report that we submitted to the health department, the town has recognized that to extend their water and sewer district. So we have a public hearing scheduled for that as well the same night. So they're moving on ahead. Tony has agreed to help out with their attorney just to move some of the documentation along and how we get that out to the residents. But I'm very positive on that. We received back SHPO on that property as well. And everything was negative there. Habs Hair, which is about the housing, the actual house that's on there. I'm working on a letter to send to SHPO to say, look, we can't keep this property. We're not going to, or not the property, the house. We're going to tear it down. He thinks it matches some Gothic revival stuff. It's been such cob job together. So we're hoping that he just says yes to that. If not, we'll have to take it a step further, but I think we'll be good with it. We haven't gone out to bid yet on the barn or the other exterior buildings. We're going to have a restoration type place come and take it over and, you know, pay us for the lumber and things that are on there, because we don't want to just put that in the landfill. But we're voting today on a topographical survey that Emmerich had done that was needed for the property. Worked out to be about $6,500.
Spend $6,500. Motion.
Yeah, pay the topo survey.
Answer. Second. Corey, any discussion? Okay, right. Any opposed? Nay. Carried. There's also.
Well,
page
we're
29.
gonna, well, the attorney costs, we're gonna get rid of that.
All in favor?
Glad you showed up.
Well, no, we were gonna outsource.
But I take it back. Yeah.
We were gonna help the village or the town pay for that through an outside counsel, but we think now we're okay, right, Tony?
Things seem to be back on track here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we can take that off the agenda. Thank
Item
you.
17, the designation of a contracting.
Yes, one of the things that we found, I'm sorry, I just jumped in.
Oh, John, I'm accustomed to it.
Okay, so one of the things, the various things, of many things that we found is that we have to have a contracting officer for the purchase and the sale of land. It would be normal that I would be that contracting officer, so we just need to vote to support me to be that person this evening.
Who's requiring?
Through our ABO and the policies through all of the, as we peel back the layers of these things and learn more, as you'll see on many more that we're doing here, there's a lot of things going on that we never did in the past, so we're
Well,
catching up.
In the past, there hasn't been enough money right here, so.
No one really looked at us, yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to have John become our CO. And second, Kate, any discussion? Okay, favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the fun part here, item 18, other IDA policies, the list on the agenda, fee schedule, and statement of intent regarding debt, project monitoring, enforcement, travel policy, of conflict of interest, uniform criteria, project evaluation, and cybersecurity policy. How do you want to handle those all together? or-
Well, I want to talk about the fee schedule first. Please.
Go ahead.
So so the fee schedule, we are upping at the recommendation of our attorney. Putting other costs for solar projects, we will be changing ours to, instead of an annual fee of $750, we want to go up to $1,500. It still doesn't make us the most expensive one, but I think it's in line with all that we do to support these solar projects, especially because we have to keep going after them for them to do the paperwork. Tony has seen some emails that I've sent that I say, let's start clawing back, and all of a sudden we receive the documentation. I don't want to have to keep doing that. We're all adults. It's ridiculous, but, so I figure we should be doing that. The market rate or what do you call them? Properties, workforce housing and things. We think we need to change that application fee. Our general one is a little light, but we're going to keep it that way. As you can see from all the projects we've been doing lately, we haven't waived off that 1% total cost per project. It's worked out well. I don't think we should change that at all. So the only real update, right, Stace, is the 1,500. So I think we should vote on that one separately. The first one, fee schedule.
All right, motion for fee schedule is written. Cory, seconding it. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Carried. Statement of intent regarding debt.
Well, I think
You want to take
maybe,
them all?
well, let's see, Stace, did you remember, was there anything else that we needed to cover individually?
No, I don't know.
I don't think
As
so
long as everybody's
either.
reviewed them.
Yeah. A lot of what you see in these reports and things in there are stuff or information that we've had to update or new things that we've gotten from Hodgkin Russ, but there's been nothing crazy outstanding in there.
Travel policy, so we took some issue off that, right?
No, we actually added every island in the Caribbean to that. We've actually added for the CEO to be, the chairman has to approve his, and then I approve the chairman's.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works out well for all of us that way.
We're joking, folks. We're joking. Okay,
Yeah, put it down. You're writing on this, right?
those 6 items that I listed before. Any discussion, further discussion, any motion, accept all those? Kate, second, Mike? Any discussion?
Just like the cybersecurity, we really upped that too. So we make sure on what we're doing there because of all that we see going on. You know, and we worried about any type of remote stuff as well, so that's it.
It's made in second. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Carried. Item 19, something of business journal, year or
Yeah. Edge and Feldmeyer are receiving awards at this event. I think it's important that we support it. I know I have up to a certain amount, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. We're going to probably be a bronze sponsor for that. And by the way, too, we have a new reporter for the Central New York Business Review. She's out of Ilion, Tracy. She was it before. I have a relationship with her from CTM, so we should get more play in there as well.
so
So
look in the bronze.
$750.
Spend $750 on a sponsorship.
There'll be 2 tickets, and anybody who wants to go, let me know.
Which level were we at?
We were at nothing. We never done a sponsorship before. It's brand new. I don't know if this award is brand new, but I've never seen anybody like Edge or Feldmeyer, those kind of companies, local companies getting it. Yeah, I think it's more Syracuse area, but they're bringing it this way because they've gotten rid of the Mohawk Valley Business Review and now just calling it the Central.
Let's do on Friday. So.
No, Nate, yeah. Victoria.
Motion. Cory, second. Kate, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Carried. All right, we'll go to comments by our elected officials, so I believe we have, Assemblywoman Button Chen's office on. Any? Would you like to comment at this time?
Oh, good morning. I'm sorry that the Assemblywoman couldn't be on, but I'm happy to be on her behalf, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anybody?
Let's see, anyone else? Jim Wallace, our county administrator, any comments?
No, Jim, I just like to thank you and the board and John for all the work you've done. You guys have done a tremendous job over the last couple of years.
Likewise to the legislature, it's a partnership. So we have some legislators, Bob Hollins in the room and Mark Gorwicki's on the phone. Guys, comments?
No, we just keep up with the work.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Anyone else today? Let's go to project updates. John? There you go.
Well, one of the great things is we were awarded 205,000 plus from National Grid for getting the gas to both Fountainhead and Pepsi, Mark Shattuck there, Westlake Development. So that's great. We will pay that out of our funds and then be reimbursed by the grant. So that saved us a nice chunk of change, even though it took us many, many months to make this happen. At least we're seeing the return on that. Ames True Temper, they do not want to let us have that property. They won't even give me a number. They're gonna advertise it through some broker that they're hiring. I said, okay, just let me know if we can assist with anything. Financial disclosure packets. Who did not bring theirs in? Okay, John, did you turn yours in? Okay, so Mike?
I sent mine over to you.
Okay, we know Ann and Claudia Scott is here, so we're good with everybody, right? Except for Clues. Right? Everyone but Clues. Okay, so we're gonna have Jim reach out to David about that and train him after. Anti-harassment. What some of you are calling it harassment training, but it's not, it's anti-harassment training. Please be aware you have to do that as well as your ABO training. I know Corey's scheduled to do the ABO. Victoria will let you all know when you have to do it again.
She was asking if she completed her anti-harassment training. I think.
No. So
Do you have a link for that? You
Yeah.
can send me.
yeah, she'll resend the link out to everybody for the anti-harassment. If you already did it, you don't need to do it again, but it's just easier for us to send it out to everybody. Victoria keeps good track of who needs to do those different trainings.
Apparently can't slide that.
So you can if you're a Oscar winner, I guess. Food processing study, that is going fantastic, by the way. Just to let you know, we had people who work at Chobani talk to these people. Steve DeMayo talked to them. Anybody that we've requested a conversation with, they have done it. And we're very excited in which direction that is going. We are planning to have an outreach meeting at the college when we're winding down this part of the grant within the next month, right, Victoria? Or was it the next 2 months?
The next 2 months.
Within the next 2 months. We'll request that you all attend, but it's really been beneficial to us. They're also, we're gonna work with them at marketing a few sites. So it's been, that 50,000 has been well spent. Weston Foods have stopped working there. They released all of their employees on Thursday of last week. They were able to do that because they're paying them all severance to the end of their 90 days. I've actively talked to 5 different groups that are interested in that building. That's 47,000 square foot facility. If you want to know more, we feature it on our website. It does have freezer storage, cold storage, and ambient storage. So it will be attractive to different groups. We're excited to help that in any way that we can. There's a Diorio's Pizza next door. Put a sign up at the end of the road. They're hiring. Karen anticipates maybe 30% of the people going after unemployment when it's all done. A lot of workers that they had there were refugee, so they'll start working today if they get a job. They're not gonna wait for, and their severance they'll still receive, so it's important, we see that, but those 200 workers will go fast.
So that they expected, I thought, to lay off the workers in May, so they laid them off in advance, but they're compensating them
They're paying
until
them,
May.
yep, full. Yeah, they, would you really keep food workers working if they know they're done?
I understand.
Yeah,
I just
I mean, I would.
wanted to.
Yeah. We are planning a Fuse Hub event at the college like we've done in the past. We'll let everybody know. I think our first meeting on that's tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
So, do we know what day we're gonna have it though?
It's June 7th, June 8th.
Okay,
The reception on the 7th in the evening at the college and the event on the 8th.
okay, great.
We'll put together the marketing for it for sure.
And then our Brownfield Summit, which is the 12th and 13th at Fulton Montgomery Community College. We have people coming from all over the Northeast. If as a group of the 6 counties, if we sell one property, we won. I mean, this is how closely we're all working together. I don't really, I mean, of course, I want to move anything we have in Herkimer County. But if a single county moves a brownfield out of this event, it's phenomenal. You know, it's so neat working together with everybody on this. We've had many meetings. We had to postpone it during COVID, but it's full steam ahead here in April. We'll be bringing people to see our sites, not only Duhold, but a few other ones. We're still pushing Main Street Temper. We're still pushing Charlestown. So we still have opportunities for things there. Board, if they have anything they want to say, but then we can move on.
I just have one thing. I did go to the job fair that Karen had, Working Solutions had at the college, probably 40 employers there. I'm a little disappointed with what I saw as far as the amount of people there, you know, applying for jobs. I did have a chance to talk to about 16, 17 of those employers, quick hour that I had to burn up. And, you know, I asked them if daycare was an issue. I don't know if you know, but the county is still actively seeking a daycare provider. There's talks right now with the legislature to how we're gonna fund that or how we're gonna structure that, whether we split that up amongst other daycare providers, nonprofits, or if the county uses their daycare provider. In particularly infant daycare, I asked, and all of them, I gave them a scale of 0 to 5, and 5 being the most, and you know, I got hits of 10 and 20 on most of those, but they were all in the 4 or 5 range, and they said it was critical in today's market. That's what the workers looking for. And it all depends on the type of business and the age of that employee that they had. But so we're at that stage now, so that the county is poised to do something. I hope, I think, and I relayed that to the legislature that it's a critical need. So we looked at a couple sites, or we're looking at a couple sites. We have money for it. We have about $750,000. Jim Wallace, jump in anytime. Yeah, and so there we are with that. But I was a little disappointed in the amount of people that were there, and although the employers were happy to see those people, just sparsely attended, and it's really a sad time.
Jim?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Just real quick, we've been very fortunate working with the legislature, and Leanne's done some good work for us. We think the capital side for daycare is set. Operations is a real issue. I think if anybody talks to anybody operating a daycare center in upstate New York, they know the issues. The state does have a desert grant. If we did open our own facility, we would get all expenses for 2 years. That would give us an opportunity. If all things were going well and we were at 80% capacity, we can bring in around $736,000. We would be able to bank that $736,000, which would be able to carry us forward for at least 5 or 6 years without an operating deficit. So we think there's some good opportunities now, and I thank the legislature and your leadership for going after this.
Thanks. Yeah, the critical part is going to try to get the workers though, right? I mean, that's what we're hearing from all those daycare providers. Yeah, we can make it work. We just need the workers. So.
I mean, I think the college has program that, they've done it before. So I mean, they have a level of familiarity. That's something we kind of partner with.
Or even BOCES.
Right,
You know.
well, right, any sort of, higher education. facility.
You're getting bodies.
Bodies, yeah. But I know the group that, Jim and Tim and Christina and a few others, and Karen, are pushing this, and it's needed. We gotta have it. Without that, nobody's gonna work.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark Lecky. May I speak?
Wait 1 second, Mark.
1 second, Mark, John.
Is there interest in input also?
And this is critical.
That's the primary. one, I understand.
We can't, years ago, the families used to worry about the kids, take care of the kids. Those families are in a different mindset now, and, so I know you're doing it, John,
Well, I was gonna
I
apply
do
for
it.
the job.
You have to reach that in here.
The average wait.
Yeah.
Over a year.
Yeah.
The average over a year for infant care.
Yeah.
Unless you have a sibling, someone can take you either. You have to have a-
Well, sometimes, yes, but it depends on the dynamic of the daycare. They can take that leave, but
Mark, you had something to say.
Yes, I spoke with Nick Lano of the college yesterday regarding daycare, and he said they have equipment that we could have, and also they have interns that they may be able to work a deal to work there.
Right, okay.
Just wanted to give you that information.
You know about the equipment, but the interns I don't know about, but,
Thank you.
thank you. All right,
Special meeting.
yes, we need to have a special meeting Wednesday, April 6th, at 8 a.m. That shouldn't last too long.
No, it's for Nathan Galinsky Apartments closing that project out. It shouldn't even be a half an hour.
I understand you mentioned we have to have April 6th because of the timing of their project. It could not be included in today's project
Correct.
as well.
Correct.
What's the time? I don't understand the time. in a second.
What do you mean?
So their item could be added to this meeting.
No, because they didn't have everything done, waiting for other,
They didn't,
okay.
okay.
Well, not they specifically, but they need to request. When you see the list of everything needed to be done for this project, it's 5 pages long. And some of the outliers that haven't gotten them the data.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
just, okay.
Well, it wasn't, not that they're for their lack of preparedness, it's the groups
Other-
that need, well, that, I mean. Hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the things, because they're for the pilots and everything else, they're just not getting the data like they should be getting. So, I mean, those are the things that slowed it down. We would have loved to have closed on it last month, even, but they cannot get the data. So.
All right, any more on the updates, anybody else? Okay, we need to go in executive session for Project Orange and others for acquisition contracts. I'd ask Jim if he wants to stay on along with Mark Orwecki. You want to stay on, you're more than welcome to join us. Motion for executive session. John Scrown, second Kate. Any discussion? Okay, right. Any opposed, nay, carried. So if you could let. Hey, Jim, Mark, you're on, right?
I'm on, Jim.
Okay, Mark? He's listed there, so he's on.
Do you want me to stop the recording?
Yes.
Yes, please. Recording is